Okay, this is going to be an update of the swarm that moved into this wax moth ravaged hive. And it's a little bit of an experiment, but they decided to choose this box that I was trying to clean up. You can see they've got all this debris. They're hauling out big chunks, just all the old black wax, and then it's just melting here in the sun in a pile of mess. And, like I said, this is my reclaim pile. These are hives that were waiting to be cleaned up, frames to be cleaned up, and wax moth cocoons to be taken care of. Hold this camera so it doesn't fall over. So we're going to get in here real quick and just kind of see what progress they're making. I'm pretty hopeful because they're hauling out all the junk. There's a bunch of bees across here. Still some wax moth cocoons, but wow. Okay, so they're removing all of the wax that is damaged in any way. So they're doing a lot of cleaning, and like normally I would have cleaned this up, but they clearly chose this box over my swarm trap that had nice frames in it. So all that's left, this is just the support wires left from these frames that wax moths had left their big trails of cocoons. And so now this is kind of a cool peek inside of a hive. Hopefully you can see this. Yeah, look at them working down in there. So you can see, normally you don't get a chance to see through all of the frames, but there's several frames worth of wires hanging down here. So you can see they're just working back in there to clean everything up. I don't see a lot of fresh wax on this side yet, but I would guess there's a lot more fresh wax in the bottom. So let's kind of do an expedited inspection here. I'm going to put this stuff back because I really think they're doing most of their house rebuild in the bottom. They're up here clearly cleaning all this out, which is really cool to see kind of a peek. This is what they would do in a log hive that was, a dead out and ravaged by wax moths. This is the exact same thing that bees do in the wild. They will haul out all the junk and then start to rebuild it. Wax moths are just opportunistic. They're kind of Mother Nature's cleanup crew for wax. Old black wax that's had a bunch of brood in it. They're going after the brood cocoons, the old leftover brood cocoons, and the wax that's dirty from the bees walking over it for all those generations. As beekeepers, the kind of rule of thumb is that you replace the wax after about 5 years because wax is a sponge that absorbs all kinds of things. So here's a good frame on this side. So this frame, this bottom box didn't have as much wax moth damage. So they had more to work with down here. And just going across here to see if I can get to the point where they have brood. This was a small swarm that moved in. They moved in on the couple of frames on this side. And now they've got bees all the way out on these frames over here. So here's a bunch of propolis, which is what they use as their glue, and it helps with their immune system. There's bees all over this frame, but there's not any. Okay, well, this side has got nectar. So there's a big bunch of nectar here. So they're storing all the extra nectar, going to turn that into honey, dehydrating it down to turn it into honey. So I want to get to the point where I can see some brood. I know they're raising brood because this swarm was not near this big. So they clearly are raising brood. They almost certainly have got a good strong queen in here because they were a little bit too weak to, boy, they've got that one glued down with all that propolis. There's a bunch of extra propolis here in the bottom. It's trying to break the frame, so I'm trying to be careful here if I can. But they are not swarmed because they're in the building phase, so they should have a queen. There's some capped brood, some capped babies. Yep, brood of different stages. So I know they've got a queen. Yeah, brood here. Well, they have a lot of extra propolis. They have it down here in the bottom hives that are extra hygienic or wanting to kind of protect the house. They will use that extra propolis, which is just the glue that they normally use to seal cracks and crevices, and they'll use that in those big sheets to kind of block off airflow or different circulation or whatever throughout the hive that they don't really care for. Oh boy, yes, there are lots of broods on this next frame. This one is hatched brood. There's fresh eggs and larvae. It's going to be difficult to see, kind of losing some daylight here, so I just want to do this quickly. I'm going to show you this next frame. That's all the further that I want to go, because all of these frames are the same story. They're raising brood, growing the family. Look at that. Look at all of that. That is all babies that are going to hatch soon. That is a full sheet of brood. Full sheet of brood on this side. They're doing excellent. They are doing absolutely excellent. So this is one of those examples when bees are left to be bees. They know what to do largely, and I firmly believe, my philosophy is that we are simply trying to nurture the bees. We're trying to minimize the bad things, the exposure to chemicals and all kinds of other bad things in our environment that kind of we have put them under stress and pressure. I feel like our job is to minimize that stress that we've caused from transferring pests from other countries and all these other issues that make it a little bit challenging to be a beekeeper today. So we minimize the bad and we amplify the good. And in this case, I'm letting the bees just continue to raise their family the way that they want to. And it goes to show you, bees, the nature, they know what to do. Sometimes we just have to let them be, get out of the way, and observe and support when they need it. So these guys are going to need varroa mite checks for sure, and we're going to let them build up, and I'm going to check them for mites in August for sure. We get them treated for the winter buildup. But this looks great. I still want to see what they do. They've cleaned up all the bad wax in the top, and I still kind of want to see if they're going to draw it in sheets around the support wires, or whether they're going to treat this like a log hive and kind of make curvy wax. So that's the only thing I'm concerned about. Is they start making curvy wax, I can't pull the frames out. So far, they're not building much wax. They're just using all their resources in the bottom. So we'll come back and check them again later. Everybody be blessed.